Well, school stabbing suspect likely to be charged as an adult. The young man who authorities said fatally stabbed classmate Alway Connection High School is being held in a medical facility under psychological evaluation, his lawyer said on Saturday. The lawyer, Richard Meehan, said his client, who was 16, could be held there up to 15 days. After that, Mr. Meehan said he will probably be charged as an adult. Friends of the suspect have identified him as Chris Plaston. The victim, Marian Science, 16, a popular honor student and athlete, was attacked in the hallway at Jonathan High School on Friday. Authorities said she has stab wounds and cuts to her face, neck, and chest. Well, that's kind of savage. The suspect has initially charged as juvenile with murder, but some Connecticut laws allow you to try minors as adults for some serious crime, Mr. Meehan said. The young man's family was distraught, the lawyer said. They're devastated, not for him, but they're devastated for Marian Sanchez's family as well. The stabbing occurred around 7:15 a.m. on a Friday, as students crammed the hallways just before the start of classes, authorities said. School staff members, including a librarian and a police officer assigned to the school, subdued the attacker and gave Mr. Sanchez first aid. She was pronounced dead at Bridgeport Hospital about half hour later. On Saturday, the authorities appeared no closer to determine a motive for the attack. Investigation is continuing. Officer Jeffrey Nielsen of the Milford Police Department wrote in an email. Authorities said that they were looking into whether a dispute over an invitation to a junior prom, which had been scheduled for that evening, had anything to do with this attack. School officials postponed the prom. That is a sure fact because with this, who would want to go to a prom now? Jonathan Law students and faculty members struggled on to make sense of the incomprehensible. How a student who may be described as funny and popular could be accused of murder. He was an all-American kid. The kind of kid you'd want your kids hanging around with, said Dale Wells, the mother of the student who has known Planston family for years. Mr. Planston, the third of five brothers, was a member of the football team, said Mark Robinson, who was 38, who coached the team and retired last season. Mr. Planston was a member of the baseball and track teams as well, and his parents took often part in the school fundraisers. Mr. Robinson said there was no sign of trouble in the weeks before the killing, which is very awkward. They're looking for the kid in the black cape and the fans and the black fingernails, but there's no sign. Mr. Robinson said he wasn't a kid who was in the shadows. He was a well-liked kid. He was funnier than hell. That's what makes it really strange. Students and teachers said Mr. Planston's parents had deep roots in the town. His mother went to Jonathan Lyle High School, and her three brothers were all successful track and field athletes. Mr. Robinson said Mr. Robinson said his father friends said owns a construction and landscaping company, and one of his brothers plays college baseball. Friends said Chris Planston and Mr. Sanchez has been close since they were in the middle school together on his Facebook page. His lists Mr. Sanchez as his sister. A few months ago, he asked her to the prom and she said no, said Chris Lund, 17, who has known him since kindergarten. Then she started seeing another Jonathan Law athlete, friend said. I couldn't believe it was him, Mr. Lund said, referring to attack. Mr. Platten had a dark days like any other teenager, his friend said. Some students said he seemed down in the recent months, and that Mr. Sanchez had occasionally tried to brighten his mood. He has visited the school dining counselor on Wednesdays. Mr. Robinson said the counselor told him that nothing seemed airy. On Friday evening, with the prom postponed, many students, some in tuxedos and flowing gowns, gathered for tearful memories instead. Friends posed for a group photograph by the sea, holding Mrs. Sanchez's prom dress. Mourners left prom bouquets, stuffed animals, and white votive candles at the boulder outside the high school, which students have painted purple, Mrs. Sanchez's favorite color. More flowers were placed at the base of the school's flagpole, and a few drivers pulled over in the rain to absorb the scene and take pictures with their cell phones. At Bridgeport Flyer Diner on Saturday morning, about a mile from the high school, a waitress said that early hours has been quiet, in stark contrast to the prom nights. Over their coffee, dozens of patrons talked about the killing. A diner who would not give his name but identified himself as a retired Milford police officer sat at the counter cutting his pancakes. "I don't get it," he said. "I just don't get it." Well, this is very sad, I know, but I think it had some problems, and with the rejection, I think that was like the trigger to kill her. Like, when she said no, she would be down and all that. The guy was apparently really, I don't know, he had bad days. And right before the prom, I think he was jealous. And seeing her with another guy made her, boom, he went crazy and killed her. Knife to the chest, to the neck, through the back. And that's really all I have to say about this news. Um, I think it's very awkward. I mean, to actually see this is very sad. But I, in America, the students are really they're really, how can I say? They're really nice. Like, schools here in Ecuador, if someone dies, they won't do as much as the kids and teens did in this high school. They painted a boulder, they put on flowers, commemorated her, and I think that was a good act of kindness. And I think we should learn about that more. Learn to learn to be more loving, and that's about it. Um, Thank you all for seeing this news. I appreciate it. Had to do it for a second time. Doesn't matter though. This one is about 7 minutes. And to conclude with this, the lawyer is very good lawyer. He's well renowned. He's very good at what his job is. And I don't know if they actually don't charge him as an adult, but he's 16. He has 3 more years until being an adult, and I think they actually don't call him as a minor. That's my opinion. I don't know. Wasn't It was a serious crime, but still needs psychological help, and that's all.